Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one, Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. A three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
I want you to put the word out, Skylar. We're back up. You hear me? We are back up.
I'm back.
Welcome to an edition of the Block the Shot to Stop. Skylar Webker here with Kevin Lynch, myself, and we are here in good spirits because the Cavs played their best game of the series by far in a 126-104 win against Indiana to get closer, to draw back to 2-1 in the series and frankly make this a series. Like tonight was the season if they would have lost, and now things are looking a whole lot better than they were on Tuesday night. Skylar, there's obviously a million differences in this game, whether it was the guys they got back tonight, some of the ways they executed, the fact that they were able to keep Donovan Mitchell fresh on the fourth quarter. Like we'll go through all of them, but where do you want to start? What was the biggest difference tonight that, got the Cavs a 20+ point win in a series they were down 2-0?
I think the biggest thing is getting the guys back, and not just because of, the things that they contribute on the floor, whether it's scoring or defense or anything like that, but just even some of the ancillary things that come with having higher quality of guys on the floor, such as giving Donovan Mitchell a break from having to bring the ball up. We saw it last game where he just kind of ran out of gas there at the end, where tonight, he looked fresh the entire game. And that comes from just having Darius Garland, who might not have had the greatest night if you look at the box score, but just the workload that he was able to take off of Donovan Mitchell and really just let Donovan Mitchell finish this game.
Yeah, you couldn't be more right. Obviously, getting 2 All-Stars and a 6-Man of the Year candidate back who are unavailable is a huge help when you're trying to beat a very good team in the Indiana Pacers. And we'll talk about the impact. Each of those guys certainly made an impact on the game in several different ways, whether it was the stats and things that they brought, or just like you said, giving Donovan Mitchell some help, not having the other guys get so, be gas, like all gas, no breaks the whole game and then run out of gas at the end. The biggest thing for me was the way the Cavs were able to have an answer to the Pacers runs tonight. So the game goes, the Cavs come out and they're flying around. They get like a 15-point lead in the first quarter. Pacers come back. It's even at the end of the first quarter. And after that, and we'll go through it quarter by quarter, but overall, basically the Cavs stretched the game out in the second quarter. And then the Pacers kept trying to come back in the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, and the Cavs would answer. The Pacers would do like a 7-0 run, then the Cavs would do a 6-0 run. The Pacers would get 3 or 4 baskets in a row, then the Cavs would get 3 or 4 baskets in a row. They refused to let the game never got under double digits. With its tightest, it got to about 10, and then the Cavs answered again there in the middle of the fourth quarter. And so, and there's all kinds of reasons, the personnel, the execution, the minute distribution, all these things. Kenny Atkinson had a much better game tonight than he did in the first couple of games of the series, and we'll get into that as well. But just the fact that they were able to curb these runs, because the Pacers are like the Cavs in the sense that their offense comes in waves, and they are a big run team where you never feel like a lead's safe because they could score really quickly, turn you over, score again. And so just the fact that the Cavs had an answer for everything that the Pacers threw at them tonight was the difference in the game to me.
Yeah, I think just having the guys back, they said it on the broadcast, and it was really smart what they said, but just having Evan Mobley back. He's a guy that they came after Indiana with their zone defense, and Indiana could not, really get anything going. They have little spurts, like you said, as far as how they get runs or anything, but they were never able to sustain anything. And part of that is that zone defense that Kenny keeps bringing out that we've seen all year. But he had Evan Mobley at the top of the key.
Yeah.
It's pretty much saying, like, try a three, try to score a three on me. And then on the other side, I mean, the offensive rebound and defensive rebounding, just rebounding in general, I guess, was phenomenal, because then you had Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley cleaning up everything. Whether, they really held Indiana to, you were getting one shot attempt. I mean, I'm going to look at the offensive rebounding. Indiana had 4 offensive rebounds. The Cavs had 18.
Yeah. There's a huge difference in the game that I noted as well. And the rebounding in general was incredible by the Cavs, like led by, it's much easier when you have Evan Mobley in to complement Jarrett Allen, or complement each other, I should say. They combined for 25, but then if you look, if you go on down the line, the Cavs, I believe it was like almost a 20 rebound advantage, on
56 to 37. Yeah.
And so they're plus 19 in rebounding. As you said, I think it was plus 14 in offensive rebounding. That's the game right there, because the thing is, the Cavs didn't play, Cavs high level offense even tonight. Even with scoring 126, they still shot 30% from three. They still, 52% from two. Their true shooting was 54. I mean, this is kind of like an average offensive performance in the NBA, not a Cavs, average performance. Biggest difference, and it's all those things along with turnovers, which we haven't mentioned yet. The Cavs got to take 20 more field goal attempts than the Pacers did. Getting to shoot the ball 20 more times is like, I don't know how you combat that. And it wasn't like the Pacers were shooting so many more free throws than the Cavs. The Cavs actually shot 3 more free throws as well. And so the Cavs really won this game, yes, because they had more personnel and they could bounce the shots, balance the minutes and everything. But really, like, they just executed when they needed to execute, and they out hustled the Pacers. They played like a desperate team, and they frankly were a desperate team. And they beat the Pacers to the point that, and we'll talk about, I know you want to talk about this, the Pacers cracked tonight. Like this series is open now.
Oh, I mean, this series, to anybody that's listening, big Cincinnati Reds fan, big the Nasty Boys, but they have a documentary, or I don't think it's a 30 for 30. I think it's an MLB Network documentary. Anyways, but they talk about, Barry Larkin talks about how in the first home run of the first game, Eric Davis hits it, and he could tell from the way that the other team carried themselves, oh, we got them. That's how I feel right now, because 4 technical fouls on the Pacers, because they couldn't get composed. They're mentally, I don't want to say mentally weak, we'll just say softer. I think we are in their heads on this. You see the chinks in the armor. You see that you can get to them emotionally and mentally and get them off their game. A good example of that, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton had 4 points tonight. Their all-star guard, their leading scorer through the entire year. The only thing that he does to contribute to that team, because he is a traffic cone on defense, had 4 points tonight.
Yeah, and like, he only had 5 assists too. It wasn't like one of those games where he wasn't scoring, but he was setting everybody else up. He was a non-factor. And we'll get into everything. We'll go back through the game a little bit. I'm remiss that we're almost 9 minutes in. We haven't mentioned Donovan Mitchell yet, because we have to start there. The guy is incredible. He's inspiring. He's a specimen of an athlete. Tonight, again, another 40-point game, 43 points, 9 rebounds, getting in there for 9 rebounds. And a lot of them were those long rebounds that he's chasing down, just using his athleticism and his effort to like beat people to it. Another 5 assists. He hit the biggest news about it. Like, he hit 5 threes tonight. He'd only hit like, I think 2 in the first 2 games combined, maybe only 1 in the first 2 games. So he got his 3-point shot to go back with his just relentlessly attacking the basket. Got another 14 free throws tonight. The guy, the biggest reason I feel good about the Cavs, despite being down 2-1 now, and even when they're before tonight, when they're down 2-0, is I don't think Donovan Mitchell is going to let this team lose. Like if the Cavs lose, it's going to be over his like just I don't want to say dead body, but his like lifeless body, right? Because the effort that this guy is putting in to go with like the insane skill level that he has, he arguably has been the best player in the playoffs, at least in the second round. Like I think I don't know how you could say anybody else has been. He's averaging 41 and a half points a game in this series. He's all over the place, defensively on the boards. He's creating for other guys. He's giving them everything that they need. Like even with some guys that are hobbled and some things that are going to still work against the Cavs in the series, Donovan Mitchell is by far the best player in this series. And if the Cavs can do enough around him, I feel really good that they're going to get 3 more.
He has that mentality that he could take on hell with a squirt gun. I mean, I
love that.
And that's what you want. I mean, he will not let this team lose. He has, let's face it, he doesn't have the help that he's had most of the year. Darius Garland, though, actually had a good game tonight. He was plus 10 in his plus minus, only 10 points and 3 assists. Those are kind of the only things you have Darius Garland out there for. But I mean, in the time that he got to play tonight, 25 minutes, still not as positive as you'd hoped or helpful in the areas that you think. The bench was not really a factor in anything tonight. Your Ty Jerome doesn't seem to be Ty Jerome in this series. Really, the only help that he has is the big men and Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley and Max Strus. Max Strus has had a great series.
Yes.
So, I mean, it doesn't take, a team of monsters or anything for him. I think he sees like, I can win anything with these guys, and he's not going to let them lose. He's not going to, he's not going to let it happen. And like I said, I think they see that they can get to these guys, not even just the guys on the court, but they had Rick Carlisle. He got a technical foul tonight, and he constantly was barking tonight. And I think they got their number. I think they're in their head on it now.
Yeah, I lost track of how many Pacers guys. And I want to come back to all the guys that returned tonight, Garland, Mobley, and Hunter. I want to talk about the couple other mainstays, because like Mitchell has been the scene stealer in this series, no doubt. But Max Strus and Jarrett Allen have both been really good. And they were fantastic in game 2, and they were fantastic again tonight. Max Strus tonight, like another 20 points. Sorry, I'm pulling up his numbers, but he was just all over the place. Yeah. 20 points, seven rebounds, 7 assists, was all over the place defensively. He was the primary defender on Tyrese Halliburton that really screwed up Halliburton. And they screwed up Halliburton so bad they didn't even need to put their better defenders on him by the third, fourth quarter. They moved Strus onto like Nembhard when Nembhard got hot there in the third quarter and was trying to bring him back. They moved Strus to him. Strus is doing everything that Donovan Mitchell is not doing for this team. Max Strus seems to be doing. And I don't know what more you can say about Max, and Max is absolutely 100% a winning player. He is a guy you win playoff games with.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a undrafted guy, got his way into the league. He was a key piece in that Miami team going to the finals. I mean, he was a very key piece to that team. So to get that, not only just the winning attributes, but he knows what it takes to make it all the way to the finals. Like, that's a guy with experience, and the only other guy with experience on this team is Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit Mitchell. Mitchell's been in a lot of playoff series. He just hasn't made it to a confererence finals yet.
Yeah, a lot of playoff series, but those are the only 2 guys that have any finals get into the end.
I hear you.
Experience.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I can't say enough about Max. Max took, as good as he was in game 2, he took some flack for that inbounds pass in the end of the game, which was brutal. Brutal contributor to the kind of the end of game collapse in game 2. But that shouldn't have shadowed the fact that he was phenomenal and was a major reason that they were in a position to win game 2. And then tonight's just as good as he was in game 2, like offensively. I mean, he contributed a high level in every single aspect of the game. You can't name an aspect of the game, whether it's setting other people up, scoring, rebounding, playing good defense, making hustle plays. He was everywhere. And he, like, if they're getting this level of contribution, Max Strus and Jarrett Allen, who we'll talk about in a minute, and they can keep these guys that are banged up healthy and in the lineup and giving them enough, I'm starting to get I'm starting to get Skylar level optimistic.
Cavs in 6.
Yeah, man. So let's talk about Jarrett real quick. He was 19 and 12 tonight. Had a little bit of weird, like he had trouble catching the ball a few times. I know he had an issue with his wrist a while ago. I'm really hoping that's not bothering him, but like overall was spectacular. He actually led the team with a plus 38 in 31 minutes played. Was so good. He, after Miles Turner was really on fire to start the game, he had the first 10 points for the Pacers, and then Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley really dug in on him. He only finished with 15. He had 10 points in the first few minutes, 5 points the rest of the game. Phenomenal job by Jarrett in every aspect of the game. Like this is the high level Jarrett game. There's only like 2 games you get from Jarrett. It's the solid game, gives you what you need, and the high level awesome Jarrett Allen game. And this was the latter.
Yeah. I'm so good to have Jarrett Allen on my team. I mean, he would be a guy, like if I were on the other team, I'd be like, why is he so good? Like he's so underrated, so good, so just flies under the radar. And probably doesn't get the acknowledgement that he deserves. And we've banged that drum all year. But man, just holding ground there in the paint. I mean, he also came out with 2 blocks tonight. Like you said, led the team in plus minus. To lead the team in plus minus, playing 31 minutes, only scoring 19. I mean, the 12 rebounds help, but that means you're really getting it done on the defense. You're altering shots. You're altering attacks. I mean, that says a lot to be plus 38. That's like Shea Gilchrist-Alexander level.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 17 and 10 in this series. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Him and Max Strus I put in the same category. They're not as much as we try to push for it. I don't think Jarrett Allen's an all-star player, but I think he's a player you win a heck of a lot of games with and can win a heck of a lot of playoff games with. He's not like the most skilled, but they are both like just winning players and make the winning plays. I mean, you talked about those offensive rebounds. Like he had 4, Mobley had 5, Donovan Mitchell had 5. Like just those effort plays, especially, and I'll look this up, but I feel like a lot of them came in the second quarter when they really stretched out the game. And he's just making every play you need him to win the game. I expected Jarrett to be really good in game 2 because I knew they would need him, and he always answers the bell when they need him. But with Evan back tonight, I wasn't sure what kind of Jarrett Allen game we would get. And I don't think you could have asked for a whole lot more than Jarrett Allen. He gave you everything you needed from him tonight. Yeah,
I think he set the footprint for how they plan to attack this team for the rest of the series. I think it starts there, getting the ball or cleaning up the glass. I mean, 12 rebounds is huge. 13 rebounds from Evan Mobley, also huge.
Right.
And like you said, just being a disruptor when being on the defensive end. I mean, here's the crazy part. Evan Mobley, also a fantastic game, and we'll transition to, came with more rebounds, more assists, more steals, more blocks, 1 point shy less. Still, Jarrett Allen still had a higher plus minus than the defensive player of the year. That is what we're saying, is how much impact he's making when he's on the floor. He's making more of an impact tonight than the defensive player of the year, who has better, I mean, other than points, more in every statistical category tonight.
They had pretty comparable games, only you really felt Evan's impact on the defensive end Like he was so good on the defensive end. Just he had 3 blocks and 3 steals, and that, as incredible as that is, that doesn't paint the picture. He was just everywhere, altering shots. Was so good when he got switched on to anybody. When he got switched on or was guarding anyone on that court, 1 through 5 on the Pacers, he was locking them down. And when he wasn't on the ball, he played fantastic, help side defense. He tonight, watching Evan Mobley tonight, watching the last 2 games, I should say, watching game 2 without him and then game 3 tonight, should hopefully make everyone appreciate all the contributions that Evan Mobley makes to this team. While his numbers are very good and everything, his impact goes so far beyond the numbers that with this team. And he was rewarded with it with Defensive Player of the Year. Very well deserved. We're super, happy that he got it.
And a $40 million a year bonus.
Right. But I thought of all the guys that returned, and we'll talk about each of them tonight, I thought Mobley looked the least impacted. And from everything we heard, he was the guy least likely to play tonight. But I didn't see him limping much. I don't know what they did before the game or during the game or anything, but he looked like regular old Evan Mobley to me, and that's a good Evan Mobley to look at.
I know. He must have got some, was it not PMP? The shots in his knee or something to really help with the swelling.
Cortisone is
cortisone shot. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he looks great. It was so good to have him back. And look, he only hit 1 3, but they were saying on the broadcast, he commands enough attention that you have to send somebody out there to the 3-point line when he's out there. You can't just go ahead, throw it. And, he demands enough attention, which then just opens up to getting the 4 assists that he got tonight. I mean, his impact on this court has been unmatched. I mean, I think you definitely get the scoring Herculean efforts from Donovan Mitchell, but you get everything else from Evan Mobley. Like I said, you have this zone defense, and you have one of your 7-footers playing at the top of the key, in the zone. You don't have him in the paint. You have him at the top of the key, taking on be it Nemhard or Mathurin or Halliburton. It doesn't matter who's on the other end. He's such a good defender and player. Just things like that create such a good impact for the Cavs and make it so difficult for anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, Evan Mobley, I said this, I think, before the series started. I maybe should walk it back, but I said Evan Mobley will very soon be the best player on the Cavs, but Donovan Mitchell will be their leader. I may have to walk that back a little bit because Donovan Mitchell's looking like the best player in the NBA right now. But Evan Mobley is an incredible force for the Cavaliers in every aspect. His development offensively this year. I mean, we've talked about, but the biggest difference is his comfortability handling the ball. He always was good around the rim because he's so athletic and big and has good hands. And he's obviously always been very good defensively, but his ability to handle the ball and to shoot from 3, which I feel like the shoot from 3 has been more celebrated, but the fact that he brings the ball up the court sometimes, the fact that he takes guys off the dribble, tonight, I remember there was one play that I kind of made a note about was Indiana was on one of their runs. I think it was a 7-0 run. And then they were slow getting back on defense, and they kicked up to Mobley, and Mobley went right at off the dribble Miles Turner and got an and 1 and stopped the Pacers run. But it's a play Evan Mobley last year, 2 years ago, doesn't even attempt. He just holds the ball and waits for Garland or Mitchell to come get it from him.
Waits for backup.
Yeah, that development, that ability to be a creator offensively, both for himself and for the team, is what's taken him from being a very good player to on the cusp of being one of the best players in the NBA.
Tim, how do you feel about
that? Well, welcome in, Tim Daniel. Tim, I will. I'm going to put the next question to you.
I couldn't miss being here tonight, guys. I
Yeah.
couldn't miss it.
So Skylar and I, we've gone through a lot. Obviously, started with Donovan Mitchell and everything. Where we're at now, and what I want to talk about next is Darius Garland, because we talked about the other 4 starters. And if you looked at Darius Garland's numbers tonight, you'd be like, he didn't have that big an impact on the game, or he wasn't like that, good. His shooting numbers weren't that good. I'm telling you, what Darius Garland gave them, just as being a ball handler and a creator, and more than anything, taking 10% of the stress off Donovan Mitchell, was, I think, maybe one of, if not the biggest difference in the game. Like if you go back and watch the fourth quarter of game 2 and then the fourth quarter tonight, Donovan Mitchell looks like 2 different players. Just from he was amazing in both, but he could barely get up off the ground. He was so tired in game 2. Game 3, he's just attacking, and didn't bother. I mean, you look at Donovan Mitchell had 14 points in the fourth quarter alone, and only 6 minutes in the fourth quarter. He all game, but especially there in the third and fourth quarter, Donovan Mitchell ripped the hearts out of the people of Indianapolis, and that was. And not in small part to Darius Garland being available and taking a little bit of the playmaking off of him. Tim, your thoughts?
So 100%. First off, I'm so happy I get to be here with you guys because I needed some positive vibes.
We got them flowing today.
Just had some brutal, not so positive vibes in my previous recording. So happy to be over here for a little bit. So yeah, 100%. First things first, just kind of having him to be the additional ball handler, setting the offense. Even though, I mean, I know he drew really 4 early fouls in the first half, but honestly didn't bother me a bit. Really kind of liked his physicality, liked his aggressiveness. When they switched on to him with guys like Siakam, he competed. He took it head on. He didn't of course he got beat a couple times because of the size.
Sure.
You're going to have that, but full on wasn't scared. And even with barely being able to turn on his foot and not having his typical speed, just kind of helped out so much there on that side as well. And then, yeah, Kev, I mean, you talk about the shooting was the shooting, and you kind of suspect that for a guy who hasn't played 2 weeks. But just kind of having that guy there to get everyone in the place they need to be in. I mean, that pass he hits Mobley on for that dunk that was just filthy. So what you're kind of getting from him there just kind of helps out so much. And like you said, just taking the pressure off Mitchell, where Mitchell shot the ball pretty decent from 3 tonight for the first time in the series.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was just because you had Darius Garland there to spread the floor. And obviously Hunter and Mobley being back helps that too. But yeah, man, just really great to see him back out there. Really nice to see just kind of them playing Cavs basketball with him out there. So it was an awesome thing. And I was, even though he didn't have the greatest scoring night, I'm still very happy that he was available.
100%. And Skylar, I want to get your thoughts on this, but phrase it a little bit different. One thing we talked about on what I'll call our optimism pod that we did yesterday, which turned out to be very, very prognosticating for us.
Yeah, nice job.
We talked a lot about how Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith were controlling the series with their physicality and the fact that they could, between the two of them, gang up on Donovan Mitchell because there's no one else to create, right? Well, you get Darius Garland back, and they can't do that anymore. And tonight, I'm going to give you 2 sexy numbers. Andrew Nembhard, minus 32. Aaron Nesmith, minus 29.
Love it. Yeah, I think getting those guys off of rhythm, just because, like we said, there's another person that they have to pay attention to. They have to pay attention to Darius Garland, because if they don't, he will burn you. And with them gravitating the attention to Darius Garland, he has the other things that can help as far as, facilitating or stuff like that, which we didn't get to see a ton tonight, but just the attention that Darius Garland brings opens up for everybody else. I don't have the number in front of me, but I want to know what his hockey assists were tonight, because I feel like every time he passed to somebody, it was usually Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley or somebody else that they then got the assist for anything. So
100%, he would start the action on offense, which when you're having to ask Donovan Mitchell to do that and then get the ball back and then attack over and over and over again, just the fact that Darius Garland could get the ball off the floor, first of all, which they had a little bit of trouble with, obviously, in game 2. And then, be able to start the action on offense, even if he doesn't ultimately score, just to like get the offense flowing, get it moving. And you're right. Like a lot of times, Darius Garland would make a really good offensive play for the Cavs that wouldn't result in him getting any kind of statistic. And I thought his impact was great. And to the other point that we were talking about keeping Donovan Mitchell fresh, major thing in game 2, the Pacers outscored the Cavs by 15 in the fourth quarter. Tonight, the Cavs outscored them by like 9 in the fourth quarter. Most importantly, when the game was in the balance, Indiana actually cut it to 10 with 7.5 minutes to go. Cleveland went on a 16-1 run, led by Donovan Mitchell scoring 11 points, and Donovan Mitchell looked fresh and aggressive and made some of the most acrobatic, shots you'll ever see.
That one where he's going for the dunk, and then he just like turns into a layup mid-air and like bumps into I think it was Obi Toppin and draws the foul.
Yeah,
Turner. Yeah.
I was gonna say you're talking about the other end. This is the other piece that I want to get into. The unnecessary, just blatant physicality from the Pacers. I mean, the foul that you're talking about, Tim, is when Donovan Mitchell goes up and hits or whatever Obi Toppin, and just very blatantly Obi Toppin with the shove, unnecessary, uncalled, didn't get called. And we saw that in game 1 a lot, which led to DeAndre Hunter getting hurt, which led to Evan Mobley being unavailable for game 2. Just the ruthless physicality and quite frankly, unnecessary physicality that the Pacers are getting away with is ridiculous. They said it on the broadcast, and I'll reiterate it here. The fact that they brought James Johnson in for
and celebrated it.
Literally, the only thing they brought him in for was to send a message of physicality, which basically means, they're just putting him in here to try and hurt.
Because
somebody.
the Cavs got physical with them tonight, and they didn't like it.
I like physical basketball. The majority of the stuff that the Pacers do, and I'm nowhere saying they're a dirty team, I have no problem with. The thing I have a problem with is hitting guys in the air, right? Yeah. And how many times have they done that in the series? And I'm more mad at the referees and the Pacers, because if they throw a flagrant foul, or even a flagrant foul 2 at the first time they do it, which is what that call should be. If you put a risk of injury to a defenseless guy who's in the air, that's actually definition of flagrant foul 2. Yep. Then the next ones don't happen, right? So like that, to me, for as many fouls as the rest have loved calling these last couple of games, to not like want to call those and everything, I found extremely frustrating. And tonight, like the only one I had a real problem with is, I think you're kind of mentioning, Obi Toppin with the double push. He fouls Mitchell as Mitchell's going up, no problem. But then he's in the air, and as he's shooting, like he literally 2-hand shoves him from behind. That's not a basketball play. That's the whistle's already blown and a guy's in the air. Why they didn't go review that? And I think that would have been. I think that should have been an ejection, to be honest. Like I don't care about 2-minute reports and everything. I care about like that. The next time that happens, the correct call is made, and that I really feel like the refs in the league have to do something to protect players who are in the air from getting like literally like pushed, knocked down, undercut while they're in the air.
Yeah, like if the Cavs brought in Tristan Thompson to do this to Tyrese Halliburton, like Pacers fans would
Tyrese Halliburton's dad would have been at center court.
Not anymore. He's not allowed on the floor. He's not allowed in the arena anymore. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Pacers flat out told him to not go on the road with them or be at home games anymore.
Yeah,
after the Giannis incident. But yeah, I mean, same thing. So, like John Chaney probably was like smiling with pride when they brought James Johnson in, just because that's what he used to do at Temple to players. But yeah.
And I want to get one thing real clear. Like the refereeing was, this is one of those games where it was bad, but it wasn't. I don't think it was particularly bad one way or the other. The free throw rate, like the Pacers had 3 more fouls called on them, but they had a higher free throw rate than the Cavs. If you take away the 3 extra technicals that the Pacers got, the teams shot the exact same amount of free throws. And I'll be real clear, and people of Indianapolis can be mad at me for this. The Pacers weren't mad at the referees tonight. They were mad because the Cavs got their guys back and were kicking their ass.
Yep.
That's why they were mad.
Flat out. I mean, that, and then like, I don't know if you guys got into this already. I absolutely love the defensive gameplay for Halliburton tonight. I thought the way they just pushed the ball out of his hands, that anytime he touched the ball, they attacked him to where they didn't let him kind of have any space. I thought the way they played defense tonight was perfect.
They gave him a lot of what the Pacers were doing to Mitchell the first couple of games, pressuring him full court like that. So something so simple that Scott and I mentioned on the pod yesterday, that in game 2, like Mitchell was so tired, and they basically said, whoever Halliburton is guarding, bring the ball up. You saw Isaac Okoro bring the ball up 6 or 7 times in a row. I guarantee you haven't seen that the entire season. Isaac Okoro regularly playing point guard. And that was like an example of the Pacers like dictating the game to the Cavs. Tonight, that flip was scripts. Like Halliburton, how many times was Strus all over him the moment the ball went through the basket? And we did talk about how amazing Strus was all around game was.
Talk about the dunk.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked about the dunk. We haven't talked about the hair. We should.
Always.
Yeah, I kind of getting back to Scott and I mentioned this earlier, but for you, Tim, I think the door to this series got kicked wide open about an hour before the game started tonight, and it didn't close one bit during the game tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Pacers had that nice run to the end of the first, and then it just kind of turned right back in the Cavs ball, and they did what they did, man. So yeah, I'm with you. I feel really good about this series now. I feel like now we have our guys back, and you kind of saw like the block kind of come in, like Isaac Okoro came in to basically go sub out for Darius Garland at the end of the game, and you saw kind of how the rotation is going to go from here. I still think Ty Jerome's going to end up hitting shots at some point. I'm not worried about it.
We've been avoiding that, so
yeah. And I mean, having Mobley back, man, made such a difference tonight. So
yeah. We're going long today, so I'm going to give quick final thoughts, and then I'm going to go around to you guys and let you give some final thoughts before we get out of here. My final thoughts are real easy. Donovan Mitchell is the best player in the playoffs this year. Is he the best player in the NBA? I would say no, but right now, money time in the playoffs, he is the best player in all the playoffs so far. And this guy, Indiana's not stopping him in game 4. If the Cavs can keep guys healthy enough to give enough contributions around him to just give him that little bit of freedom to stay fresh the whole game, he's going to dominate the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Skylar, what about you?
I'm just gonna put it out there. Cavs Knicks Eastern Conference Finals. It's gonna happen. The Cavs are gonna. I mean, we talked about it. How I think we got them. We are in their head. That we understand that they are mentally a softer team or a more reactive team, I should say. I think we got them. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
You know that clip at the end of the 16 finals at the end of game 6 when they show LeBron talking to the team in the locker room and he's like talking about the words. He's like, they effed up. They effed up and they know they effed up. That's Skylar right now.
That is me. I think we got them. I think we understand that we're in their head. All right. We're in their head right now about this. We got them. Cavs in 6, Cavs Knicks Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay. I love how far in front of your skis you're willing
to
go.
For sure.
Dude, I'm sweating.
Tim, any final thoughts from you?
More just curious. Do you think like JB Bickerstaff watched the Cavs? We're going to that 3-2-7 tonight with Mobley at the top of the key and like he shed a tear.
No, I'd say.
Do you think he was like?
No, I think it blew his mind
all night.
Yeah, I think it blew his mind. He didn't know what was going on.
You think he did like the Leonardo DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Was like.
All right. Well, we're going super long, so let's wrap up and get out of here. Awesome night. The Cavs are alive. The death of the Cleveland Cavaliers was way prematurely said, and we will be back Sunday night after Game 4, hopefully celebrating at the Cavs point 2-2 in the series. As always, I always forget to say this, but please, if you're not already, subscribe to us on YouTube, rate us, follow us on socials. We really appreciate it. We've been getting, higher numbers than ever. I mean, some of that's the playoffs, but we really appreciate everybody following along with us. And so please do it. So for Skylar Webker, for Tim Daniel, thank you for listening to the Block the Shot to Stop. We are 0 episode curse word free, thanks to me again tonight. So we'll try and get back on track with that and make us a family friendly show once again on Sunday. So for the Cleveland Cavaliers, for the guys here for Blue Wire Podcast Network, have a good night. And as always,
go Cavs.